Jared Kelenic has some thoughts. The spring training schedule is here, and have the Mariners done enough this offseason? Welcome back to another episode of the Seattle Sports Show, where we love Seattle professional sports. I'm your host, Mikey. All right, today we are going to do an episode on the Seattle Mariners. And with that, the spring training schedule is here. We're going to I'll give you my opinion if the Mariners have done enough this offseason. And what we're going to start out with here is Jared Kelenic and his comments he made on the Foul Territory show the other day. All right, so we'll start out with that. Jared Kelenic going on there and just talking about how he feels bad for his former teammates. Because of the organization here. And we just compared the end of season press conferences between Jerry Dipoto and John Schneider, and how obviously John Schneider's press conference was so much better than the Jerry Dipoto press conference. But also, some things that are said throughout the season, right? So again, that's another thing where we're talking about we're comparing organizations now of teams we love within our own city. And the Seahawks, what was Pete's number one thing, right? Was you got to protect the team. That was like the number one rule. And there was players that didn't always abide by that rule, right? But those are players. That's one thing. But if it's your own rule and it's your a rule within your organization, you got to think those people are going to follow it, right? So you're never going to see, in the last 14 years, who knows what it's going to be like going forward. But in the last 14 years, you didn't see John Schneider, you didn't see Pete Carroll going out and making comments, in the media that were, could potentially be detrimental to the team or a distraction to the team. They were masters at that. I mean, Pete Carroll went on the radio show every week and gave his thoughts about wins and losses, performance of the team overall, but you never heard him once ever throw players under the bus. Actually, we did this year, where he called some players out by name, but everybody knew that was a thing, right? It wasn't like he was going out of his way to name some players. It was like, hey, everybody saw these plays that happened. Everybody saw the play that happened with Jamal Adams. Everybody saw, what happened with Julian Love, or what happened with Reek Woolen. On different weeks, but in general, you're not seeing them going out and making weird statements that then the players have to go and think about or get asked about in the media. And what Kelenic was referring to here was Jerry Dipoto. When he goes on radio shows or has press conferences, he's going on radio shows and talking about, hey, we're having a bad run right now. We didn't make a trade in season. We're not making a trade in season right now because it wouldn't matter if we had Babe Ruth in his prime right now. It wouldn't fix the rest of the players on this team. Well, that's not going to give confidence to the players who are on the team. There is no Babe Ruth. You're right. There's no Babe Ruth that's going to come in and was going to fix the struggles that were happening during the time period where everybody on the team was struggling at the same time. One player wouldn't fix that, right? But that kind of is saying how bad you think the rest of the team is playing at the time. And you don't want to put that in your players' heads, right? As the leader of the organization, you should, the players shouldn't have to have that thought in their head. Like, hey, even my GM doesn't believe that we're going to turn this around. So it's not even worth getting a Babe Ruth in his prime. And then, of course, he also mentioned the 54%, because now, again, that's something that the players are going to be asked about. They've already been asked about it during the offseason. They're going to be continued. It's going to continue to be something they are asked about during the season as well. Anytime, a reporter has a funny question when they ask, or if there's and it's baseball, it's 162 games. There will be periods where they are slumping. Anytime they're going to get through that slump, that 54%, that's going to get brought up, and they're going to have to hear about it all year long, already going forward. And this was something that was, put upon them like right after this season. Right after this season ended, that was already put upon them, and they're going to have to deal with it for the rest of this next season as well. So, yeah, not great on on Jerry DiPoto there, on comments that he's made. And, I feel like people are going out of their way to trash on Jared Kelenic and how he underachieved in his time here, or, him kicking the cooler this year and breaking his foot. But he's not wrong. Did he struggle at times here? Did he kick a cooler and break his foot? Yes, but that does not mean what he said is not true. It's the truth. So again, it's something that really needs to be fixed in the Mariners organization right now. It's just, I'm not feeling good about the reputation they have, with former players, and when we speculate, with some of the current players as well. They really need to get things buttoned up and do what's best for the team when having these press conferences and going on radio shows. Like, think about what you're going to say and how that's going to affect your players when you say it. Okay, so I just wanted to open it up and talk about that Jared Kelenic thing, because I see that was a thing that everybody was talking about the last couple of days. In other news, the Mariners assigned right-hand pitcher Austin Voth to a 1-year major league deal. No big deal here. Maybe he makes the bullpen. We'll see what kind of role he's going to play. Nothing big, nothing to write home about. Just a move that fills out your spring training roster, and he'll obviously be part of the 40 man. Okay, and then speaking of a spring training, let's go ahead and talk about that spring training schedule. I have it up on the screen already. Some key dates on February 14th on Valentine's Day, pitchers and catchers report. The very next day, on the 15th, pitchers and catchers will have their first workout. On Monday, February 19th, the position players report. Tuesday, the 20th, the first full squad workout will happen. On Saturday, February 24th, they will have their first game at the White Sox, and March 15th will be the spring breakout game. Now, I'll pull up the full schedule on screen. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll see that. All right, so we got the full schedule up there. If you see something in like a light blue, that's a home game. The white is, or gray is road. Green is at Peoria. If it has an SS on it, that's a split squad. If it's got dark blue on the schedule, that is games featuring top prospects. So if you download the schedule, you'll see all that there for you. Again, we already went over some key dates here, but I figure I should for anybody who might be going, you can pick up $5 tickets to our prospect showcase games on March 15th, part of the MLB's spring breakout, and March 23rd. Our top 20 to 25 prospects from all levels will face off against the Padres' top prospects in Peoria. So, if you're happening to be traveling over there for anything, that could be a fun thing to go to while you're there, or maybe you're gonna go there just for that. Could be some fun times over there for that. But yeah, there's your spring schedule coming up, and like I said, we've gotten a little bit of movement this off season. The latest one being Austin Voth, and now we're really less than a month away from pitchers and catchers reporting. I mean, we're just a month away from position players reporting. And have the Mariners done enough this offseason to make you feel like they will be better than last season? In my opinion, no. At this point, I feel like we've done enough to get back to where we were. They obviously, right at the beginning of this offseason, we made a lot of moves that were salary dumps. Just letting players go, trading players away for for nothing, just for to get their salary off the team, as they do these salary dumps here. And it was going to take a lot just to get back to where we were. And they've done a lot. They've made a lot of moves that I feel like get you back to where you were. I do feel like, in general, the lineup is better than what we had last year going into the season. But my issue still is, they have not made a big move. I do not believe at this point they're going to make a big move. I'm not going to believe it till I see it. I'm just not going to get fooled like that again. This off season, I was really hoping one was coming last off season. Didn't happen. And when it didn't happen, I thought, okay, well, they're really, maybe they're saving for next off season, and they're gonna put something together even bigger. Well, obviously that didn't happen, and obviously that's not going to happen with all the news being out there about how they're not planning on really expanding their payroll as much as Jerry Dipoto, the GM, was originally told he was going to be able to going into this season. Where we know it's going to be less. We know they could potentially be starting out the season with a lower payroll than they had last season, and with whatever moves that they make in season they might reach what they reached or what they had last season, and they might go a little bit over, but it's not, it's not like we were thinking, and it's not like it seems like Jerry DePoto himself was thinking, where we were going to get, an expanded payroll this season. So I'm not expecting something to happen, and I don't feel like they've done enough because I just don't see the lineup being a threat from top to bottom, and that's what the best teams have offensively, right? I mean, pitching wise, I think the Mariners still have maybe the very best pitching room in all of baseball right now, but the lineup is just not, it's not where it needs to be. You're not going to look, you're going to look at 1 through 4 and say, hey, that's pretty solid. But you get to the back half of the lineup and then you're saying, oh, okay, we'll see what happens. And that's not what I want. It sure would be nice to have another guy, or two in the lineup that really make you feel like they're a threat every day. That you're not looking at the end of your lineup and just going, okay, well, we know when we get up in the, later in the lineup at any point in the game, we're just going to be, and there's an out or 2 outs. We just know we're going to be heading to the next inning. I want to see, good at bats and battles with pitchers like late into the lineup, and I just don't see that happening right now. I just would love for other teams to be scared of our lineup again from top to bottom, and not feel like, I mean, really, when you look at the lineup, I mean, think about it. Just, it's baseball, so a lot of times players don't hit, right? So you get the first 4 batters out, right? Then you're thinking, oh, I got the next inning and a half off, potentially for a pitcher. And I don't want teams thinking about our team that way. I want them to look at our team and say, oh, we're not going to have an inning off because there's a tough batter during each portion of that lineup. And I just don't see that right now. So they haven't done enough this offseason to me. Could they still get something done? Technically, it's possible, but this year I am definitely not holding my breath. I'm just not going to get my hopes up this year. I want to see something get done. But I just don't have, the same excitement or hope as I did last year that that something's coming. Again, the way I'm talking, it makes it sound like this team's going to be a bad team, right? This team is not going to be a bad team. That's the thing. Is that this team is not a bad team. Again, remember, the whole pitching staff, great. Julio finished 4th in MVP voting. Cal Raleigh, J.P. Crawford also received MVP votes this year. You have such a great core in your lineup. You just don't know about the rest, and that's what's disappointing. Is that it seems like ownership just does not want to let the GMs have the budget, or even have just a little bit more budget to go out and make some moves that can make this team really threatening, to win this division and actually go to and win the World Series. I don't want to be the only team that's never been to a World Series anymore. Like, this team feels like they could be so close that they're just right there. They're just missing maybe one more major piece, and just another solid piece. Somebody that isn't a question mark every day, just somebody that is, you feel like, hey, this is solid. I just want one more great player and just one solid player. That's in the lineup. I don't care where you're putting them. If it's a third baseman, it's a second baseman, it's another outfielder. Those would be the preferred spots right now, I think. To upgrade, I just want the player. I just want the players. I don't care how they go about it. I again, Blake Snell's still sitting out there, still hasn't signed. I think he still wants to come to the Mariners. Again, do you go? If you're not getting free agents to come to Seattle, do you again use some of that payroll? And is it going to use up most of what you have left, or maybe use up all of what you have left? Sure, it might. You could go sign Blake Snell though, and then you really have a great rotation, and that allows you to trade some of your younger arms to go out and get those bats that we need added to the lineup. Right? So, like I said, there's so many ways to go about it. I'm not. It's another one, like, not a baseball expert, right? You know, I'm not going to pretend like I know all the details of everybody's contracts and what they can do or what they should do, but I can see that there's so many different ways to go about this, and I would just like to see them choose one of those paths and take it, rather than sit it on their hands and do nothing, as it seems like they're doing right now. But yeah, that's the Mariners. That's what they've done so far this offseason, and yeah, we'll see. Just mentioning there real quick that yeah, I'm not an expert. That's part of what this whole show is about, because we're ending this episode now. That's what this whole show is about, is just being a fan, and not having to be an expert on every sport, and every, yeah, just not on every sport that we talk about here. But I am still a fan of the Seahawks, of the Mariners, of the Kraken, of the Sounders, of the Storm, of the Rain. I'm a fan of all those teams, and you know, I love them all. I cheer for them all. I'm not going to have the same knowledge of the sport on all of them, but we're going to talk about them, because as a Seattle sports fan, I'm proud of being, from Seattle, and rooting for my teams that are from my city. And I want to talk about them any chance we can get, and promote them any chance that I can get. I was just hearing, I believe it was today I heard this on Brock and Sock show, and they kind of go on there every once in a while and talk about the ratings that they have on Apple Podcasts, and somebody I think still gave them like a 5-star rating, but then jokingly came up with this whole math equation of how, oh, you got 1 star for this, 1 star for that, 10 stars for this, and 5 stars for that, but I gave you -13 for no sounder stock, right? And then Mike said, oh yeah, well, I don't know soccer at all, so you don't want to hear me talk about it. Well, guess what, guys? I don't know soccer at all. I don't know hockey at all. Like, those are not things like I'm an expert in, but man, I sure do love watching those games. I sure love watching the teams from my hometown go out and do the things that they're doing. It's fun, it's exciting, and I think they deserve to be talked about, even if I'm not an expert on it. And I think you guys want to hear about it, and I think you guys, want to know about it, because when you hear what they're doing, it just gives you that and hear that other people are excited to talk about it, especially when those teams are doing good things. We're talking about the 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 Rain getting to the championship this year, the Kraken being in the playoffs uh, last year. We're talking about the Sounders being in the playoffs this last season. I mean, we have so many teams doing so good. I, you just want to share your fandom of those things together, and get together and talk about it and be excited. And then, when we're having a slump like the Mariners had last season, you want to get together and vent about it. That's what this whole thing is about, is being a fan. So I hope that's what comes across, and that we can build a community of people that just love to talk Seattle sports with each other. All right, so please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, comment. Please let me know. Are you going to spring training? I know there's a lot of people that go out to spring training and hang out. Tell me, what do you think of Jared Kellenick's comments that he made? About Jerry DePoto, and putting pressure, unnecessary pressure on the players. I want to know, what do you think about this Mariners offseason? Do you think they've done enough to be better than they were last season? That's what I really want to know. Is because they have to be better than last season. They didn't make the playoffs, so they have to be even better this year so that they can make the playoffs. Do you think that they've done enough to do that? Let me know in the comments, okay? All right. Yeah, there you go. That is gonna be the episode. If you're listening on the podcast version, please also hit the follow or subscribe, and leave a rating and review. All right, thanks for listening to the Seattle Sports Show, where we watch legends awaken. So take cover, because with a sea of sound, you will see us rise to reign supreme and win forever.